Hi, Mikayla. Thank you for doing this.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
I'm really, really excited to talk to you. It's been 4 years, and even though we've heard about your name like long before that, because you committed so early
Yeah, a long time ago.
to Cal, so we would love to kind of go back and trace the journey at some point. But before we get started with that, can we talk a little bit about how things are going right now? Like, you guys are practicing and getting ready for the postseason for the NCAA tournament. What's going on there?
Practices we have a lot of energy in practice. We're excited to even be in the tournament. Last year like we're on the bubble and we didn't even know we were practicing without even knowing. And now we're working on our own things. It's getting better every day. But it works. We're happy, excited. Every day is a blessing to be playing still. So.
How's the feel of the team right now? What's going on?
Everyone's just really happy about it. The freshmen are excited to play in their first NCAA tournament. Seniors are ready to kind of close it out and go out with a bang. But everybody just seems good. Energy in practice, like I said, and we're just all just doing our part to get better.
How did you guys come out of the Pac-12 tournament? What was the feel of the team there?
Obviously we were disappointed in losing the game. We were all very sad, and we wish we could have got that game and continue to play the Pac-12 tournament. But I think it motivated us to practice the days after we had off days to come in here and handle our business. Looking forward to the games coming up. We can't dwell on the loss there, but it definitely motivates us to be better.
How will you be better? What are you looking to get better in as a team?
Just to emphasize the little things. Taking care of business the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, not just the fourth quarter. We have a tendency of coming out in the fourth quarter. Okay, let's do it now. Let's do it now. But just handling business step by step so that the bigger picture is easier to attain.
It seems like the season has kind of gone in phases. You guys started really, really well, and then Pac-12 season started, and there was
ups and downs.
Yeah, ups and downs there for sure. And then, so maybe talk about that, but also particularly talk about like what happened after the Oregon trip. It seemed like that to me was a low point, and then you guys made a turnaround.
I think it's important to understand like life's in phases. Like we're all college students, we're all young adults trying to figure things out. So obviously like we're gonna have our ups and downs in our life, and it may translate into our basketball play. But I think the main point is that we stuck together the entire time. We're in a good space right now. So like everything that we've learned before is coming in effect now. But the Oregon trip definitely was a hard point for us. We lost those games by a lot. We knew we were way better than that. We didn't perform the way we knew how to. We didn't reach our potential at all those games. And I think that Lindsay had a message to us just to be better and just look deep down and pull out anything we had left. And we have a lot of play left. We have a lot of energy in us. We have a lot of charisma and everything. So we those games are behind us now, and we're looking forward to everything leading to the NCAA tournament.
Was there anything particular that you guys did after that? Like whether you did as a leader of the team or as a senior or as a team, you guys pulled together in some way?
Yeah, we have a bunch of team meetings and coaching staff meetings often, but I think it's just a kind of collective understanding that we can't have games like that. We can't have downfalls like that. And just the next day at practice, when we had our off day, coming back from from that trip, and then the off day and then practice, it was just a different feel. Like you can just look at people's eyes and just see like, okay, we're ready for to be better. We're ready to take the next step. It happens sometimes. Those type of games happen, and it's just how you bounce back from it.
What have you done personally to bounce back or to make a change?
I just make a conscious effort to be my best version of myself during practice or even off the court to the little ones, to show them like I call them little ones all the time, right? I'm still like a little one too, to show them like how to be and kind of be an example for them. Just lead in the way that I know how to lead, and they follow me on everything I do. So I just want to be the best version of myself all the time.
You mentioned before we started the interview something about your voice and how it's different on court versus off court. Tell me a little more about that.
I'm not necessarily like the most like a lot of people, a lot of leaders are like in your face or screaming at you or something like that. I'm more of a I'm trying to bring everybody together and understand like everyone's abilities. I want them to understand like what they can do for us and encourage them. And that's just my style. I'm just more of a one-on-one type person, like talking to them in a soft manner and getting them to understand like you're a really good player. You can do this, you can do this, you can do this for us. So I think it's just more of a, for me, just being an example that they can see rather than trying to dictate them and show them like
There's actually, my job is to work in leadership, especially school leadership, but I think a lot about leadership, and I think about, as a senior, you were just talking about that. Has that evolved for you over the years? Your style, has it always been that way since you came in? Has it been a situation where you figured out like it served certain purposes or it fit certain times, and other times you had to do some shifts?
Yeah, I think sometimes you need to understand like when is it okay to raise your voice a little bit, to like let yourself be known, and then when is it okay to to have a softer approach or a more moderate approach or whatever it may be. I think just it's circumstantial, and just kind of understanding your players, understanding the personalities you have, that's a huge thing. For me, I'm like a one-on-one person. I love understanding people, like what motivates them, what discourages them, all these different things they have about them. And I think that throughout my years, sophomore year, I've been like in the kind of leadership role from sophomore year to now. I think it's just my voice has been more is more emphasized through like on the court, I guess. I think in practice I would have little things. Oh, here's talk about this. But now it's more of like I want them to hear me all the time, and I want them to know that I'm here for them as well as I hear for myself as well. So I just want them to know my voice is going to be a constant thing for them.
Something about that just reminded me of something Lindsay said, I think at the senior ceremony. I heard that she said that there'd be other players in Cal history that will score more, will grab more rebounds, and so on and so on, but no one would be more selfless than Mikayla Cowling. How's that been playing out, and has that been like a conscious thing, or is it something that you've worked on along the way?
Oh, that's how I've been as a basketball player. I'm more of a get everybody involved. I'm very much a team player. I like everyone to succeed and have fun while we're doing it. That's just my style. It's just how I am. I think I'm glad that our coaching staff sees that in me, and because that's been my thing for a really long time. But I'm just an all around I love seeing everyone have fun and get their buckets too. I like being the one to give it to them, those assists and stuff. So yeah, I like to have fun with them.
Can we go back a little bit about you said you love getting to know people better and understanding people. How do you do that? What do you do to try to know people, or understand people better?
Just intimate one-on-ones, either maybe taking them to Pasta Bene like after practice, or driving them in and out. They always love going in and out. But just talking to them, face-to-face type situations, in intimate environments, where we can really like sit down, have a conversation, and not like be rushed or kind of like have any fakeness to it. Like a really authentic time together. I've spent a lot of time with these people, with a lot of them down there. Even the freshmen, they've been here for not that long, but I've built these great connections with them, and I'm really grateful that I have this group with me.
One of the things I heard is that you're great at bringing in recruits and on visits and things like that, and kind of getting a read on them, so to speak. Is that part of the process that we're talking about?
Definitely. I mean, anybody that isn't necessarily with us all the time, you want them to kind of see a side of us that they're not going to be able to see on the court or through Instagram or through the pictures that we post for our program. So I try to make it a home feel. I want the recruits to know like this is a real authentic place to be, and I want them to see what they're going to get before they make any decisions.
All right, so let's go back about your own decision-making process, like 6 years ago now, maybe, or something?
Yeah, something like that, a long time ago.
So, it's been well told in terms of your family or, Cal legacy and all of that stuff. And so you kind of grew up around here the whole time. But tell me a little bit more about, like, how it came to be that you got here, how you came to be, you committed to Cal.
Yeah, so I committed my sophomore year, summer, really early. I said before, I think everyone knows it by now. My parents went here. As we were playing like AAU, and like they would come to all my games, and like I would see the coaches literally at almost every game, no matter where it would be, if it was far away in Virginia or down the street, or across the bay for something like that, Walnut Creek or whatever. It's just close by, far away games. They would always be in the stands. I think seeing them there every time, that consistent face in the stands, like help me realize like they're going to be really, really good people in my life. And
but there was a coaching change, right? Before you committed, then Lindsay came. She wasn't, here the whole time.
Yeah, so. I mean, I saw Kai a lot too, though.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. So it was either if it was always like somebody that I recognized, someone that I knew, but it definitely changed. Some games they'd be different, somebody else, some games be assistant coach or head coach or whatever it may be. But I think just seeing them all the time and knowing that their dedication to me and traveling and all that stuff was really good for me. And my dad, said, why wait for anything else? Why, where you want to be? Why wait? So I think that's my decision, and I don't regret it at all. Yeah.
How did you call them up and say, then just say, oh, by the way, I know it's early and I'm gonna tell you now?
I was on the phone with Lindsay. I think I called her first. I was talking to her, like our annual, just, hey, how you doing? Talk how's the team, all that stuff. And then I kind of waited till the last couple of seconds of our conversation. And I said, I think I'm ready to commit. And I remember her pause, and she was just so happy. And hearing the authenticity in her voice of how excited she was to hear those words from me, made it even more special for me to say those words to her. So I was happy from the beginning, and my dad definitely pushed me to realize my place and where I should be and where home would be.
Was there any question or doubt that I'm so young, haven't seen all the schools yet, or I don't know what I want yet? And
I think the doubt came it wasn't necessarily doubt. It was more of just hearing outside voices kind of project that to me, oh, you're very young, are you sure you want to wait, or are you sure you want to make the decision so early and all that stuff. But for myself, I never doubted anything. I think it's good for me to have structure and to know where I'm going, and not to have it up in the air and worry about the next step. Because when I was playing, I just knew I'm going to Cal for so long. So it kind of made me feel more at ease. Yeah.
You were Lindsay's very first recruit.
Mm-hmm.
when and that helped. I remember, when she came in, it's there's a whole year of oh, well, we lost the whole recruiting season.
Mm-hmm.
And you helped kind of propel that next phase, so to speak, even though at that time they were going to go through their, Final Four
Mm-hmm.
run and everything else. How do you feel about that? Do you think about that as your place in that kind of this phase of Cal women's basketball history here?
I think it's always cool being the first person to do something, for Lindsay at least, I was the first person to commit to her. I think that's it's very memorable. I think that team that was here, the Final Four team, they were a really good team, and for her to even look at me in that way, as she's seeing her practice squad and seeing the team do what they do, and she's talking to me on the phone, being invested in the team and in me. I think it shows that the level of competition that she wanted, and for me to see that she wanted me while she has this really good team, is very memorable for me.
Is that something that is at all an issue for you in terms of self-confidence and knowing how good you are and all of that stuff, even when you were young or even through the years here?
I don't think it's ever been an issue. I think I'm a pretty confident person, but I think just having that reassurance is always good to have, good to fall back on.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
One of the things I heard was, I think you said, I came to Cal because I wanted a place where I would feel accepted. I think it was something for my energy or something like that, if I'm not misquoting.
Mm-hmm.
Have you found that to be the case? Explain that to me a little more, what you meant by that.
Definitely. I think Berkeley is a very open place to be, whether it be, dressing a certain way or just projecting your identity in a different way that isn't the most conventional way to people. Berkeley's the environment here, the people here, just open and very liberal, and just the energy here you can't replicate. And I'm very fortunate to be in an environment that just accepts the person that I am. All over the place, you kind of get people saying they like the place that the school that they're at, but sometimes people aren't very as loving or what it may be, or whatever it may be. But I think this environment is just really comfortable.
So you knew that you would be getting that coming in, and that's been
I think it's been a legacy type of thing that Cal has had for a really long time, and I'm glad that it's sustained so far.
Has it promoted something, some kind of growth in you, some change, or allowed you to be more fully of who you are in any way?
I think it's allowed me to step into myself more visibly and more comfortably. I think just knowing that I'm kind of safe in a sense makes me more comfortable with tapping more into myself and digging deeper and deeper. Yeah.
I'm looking at the side of your head now, so I'm like, there's that, is that just recently new? And
I
like,
got it yesterday.
yeah, I
so
just kind of figured that. I was like, but I remember, was it from freshman to sophomore year? But
Sophomore
like
year.
your hair changed.
Yeah, I cut it. I cut my hair. First of all, it was kind of heavy, so the braids were a little heavy, and I like to just have a little breeze in my head.
This is no
No
visuals here, so
No,
it's
yeah.
fine. Yeah.
So yeah, I cut my hair sophomore year, and everyone liked it. Everyone enjoyed it. So I was like, I made a good decision, I guess.
Was it something that was I remember being in college, and that was one of the things you're like, I get to kind of be
Who you want to be?
yeah, and what I want to look like, and and like that took on such more importance than maybe like now looking back kind of thing.
Definitely. Yeah. And like being a young adult, like you kind of like this time right here is very important for your future things and establishing yourself. So I think that having a comfortable space to really embrace that and embark on that journey is really important.
All right, so one of the things I want to talk about is your family, but in particular, we've heard a lot about your father and being NCAA champion and all of that. I'm curious to talk about your sisters and your mom. I was just thinking, we just had International Women's Day, and so I thought and I think in the family of 4 young women growing up, like you were the youngest too, and then also from everything that your sisters and you have done, to me, like that must lead back to your mother.
Yeah. My mom is our rock. She. I don't think she gets the recognition she deserves sometimes, and I think I'm glad that you're actually bringing that up. She's a warrior. She's from the beginning, she's always worked so hard to get where she is now, and her drive and her admiration for us and her love for us and just everything that makes her is it's hard to even put into words sometimes. I think she's such a great person. It's a story that I tell my teammates a lot. It's really crazy story. When she was pregnant with my older sister Stephanie, she was taking a test and she was obviously pregnant. And during the final, her water broke, and she realized that obviously because it's kind of hard not to notice. And she actually finished taking the test and then went to the hospital. So I always say that story just to tell people how powerful she is, kind of this magical figure, But she's just a very strong individual, and her work ethic is crazy, and her sacrifices she made for me and for my sisters, it goes a lot unnoticed sometimes, but we always know deep down like she's been there forever. She's our rock, and she's probably the most powerful woman, most inspirational woman I've ever met in my life.
What year was that when she was pregnant and having?
So long.
What year? Well, no. What year in her is she junior, senior?
She was 20. So probably like
junior years.
Junior, sophomore, junior.
So she still had school to finish even after that.
Yeah, and she took care of her business and got her degrees, and she's in a really good situation right now, and she's taking care of all of us. So is my dad, and it's crazy to see like how powerful women are, in that sense, like having to go through childbirth as well as doing what you love and reaching your goals and all your dreams and all that stuff. So she's amazing.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, but honestly, growing up though, did she use that story to try to guilt trip you
No.
when you were working?
If I call her, I'm like, I don't want to do homework today. She's like, oh well, I did my test, and I was, sometimes she uses that as a back call.
It's a great inspirational story now, but when you're 9 and not taking out the
younger,
trash,
I was like, okay, you're right, sorry.
fine,
Right,
I can do that.
Exactly.
So and then now, I see with the kids like before and after games, but also how do you think about that aspect of like kind of paying it forward or being a role model? Do you have a platform here, or is that just something that you just naturally enjoy? And,
I just naturally love kids. Like they're so funny to me. I just love being around little people, like little creatures like I can like talk to and understand at a certain level, and help them grow, help them expand, and understand them in ways that they may not be understood somewhere else. I think it's been natural. I think our parents have kind of instilled that in all of us through our years and growing up and just being around our family and all that stuff. So I think it's just a natural thing for me to just be drawn to people. Yeah.
What was it like to be the youngest of 4 girls?
It was easy. I didn't have to do that. I didn't have to do that much. You know, everybody kind of, I always had, you know, people to look up to and ask things for, or, you know, ignore or something like that. And you know, I kind of yeah, it was pretty easy. It was fun. It's fun to be like the youngest person and to like kind of do what you want and like still kind of get in trouble sometimes, but then they kind of put you in your place and all that stuff. But you know, it's nice. It's nice.
What were you? Do you say that to them to say, hey, I actually appreciate that you guys paved the way and that stuff?
I think they know. You know, it's more of like a unspoken thing that we all kind of understand.
Okay, send this to them.
No,
okay, all right. Just make sure they know.
Yeah,
okay?
well, I'm putting it in our family group chat. Right.
So what's an example of that? What's an example of benefiting from having older sisters kind of pave the way for you?
So when I was younger, I mean, obviously I had to travel everywhere that they went because I couldn't stay at home by myself. So whether it be a track meet, a volleyball game, or basketball game, you know, I was always there in the scene. I was able to, you know, kind of scope out and experience things at a young age, high competition levels, you know, kind of crazy environments with like fans screaming or whatever it may be. So I think I've been accustomed to the sports life for a really, really long time, and being able to experience it really young and early in my career, you know, it helped me kind of get used to things now and as I grew up and as I kind of felt my own journey.
So now that you're a senior, you know, at least from a outsider, spectator perspective kind of thing, it seems like you're kind of, I don't think stepping up is the right word, but just in terms of taking more charge, in terms of being on court, in terms of scoring more and looking for your shot more. Is that a function of like some people, you know, your coaching staff going, hey, come on, we need this? Or is it a function of like saying, I see this is a need now and this is what I need to do?
I think it's both. I think the two kind of intersect. I think being a senior on any team, on any level of whatever you're doing, like any sport or whatever, especially basketball, when you've experienced things for a long time and you've been on that level, you know, you're kind of already in that position to be followed by everybody else. And like, I want to be, you know, that leader for my teammates and that example. Like when I was a freshman and Brittany and Rashonda were seniors, I always looked to them for everything, and like whatever they did, I followed, you know. So I always want to be a good example for them, because like sometimes like people will follow me without me even knowing it, and I always just want to be, you know, like that comfortable space on the court for them to know that I'm gonna do this play for you. I'm gonna get it right. I'm gonna know every play. So like I'm not gonna mess up, so that you guys understand like it's not okay to, you know, have that as you grow older. So I just want to be that good example for them.
Does that bring additional pressure? Because, you know, once you become the example or role model, maybe there's pressure to like not make mistakes or not to mess up, and you know, like either on the court or off the court.
I try not to think about it. I try not to let it affect me all too much. Pressure makes diamonds, as we say, and you know, I embrace it. I definitely embrace it. The challenges with whatever, being a senior leader, whatever it may be.
Are you a diamond yet then?
I'm definitely diamond in the making.
Diamond in the making.
Yeah.
How many carats right now? How about that?
I mean, listen, I'm just kidding. You know, I'm high class, I guess.
Okay.
She's gonna kill me.
Bling it out. Bling
Right.
it out. What kind of cut? What kind of clarity are we gonna get into this whole metaphor kind of thing?
Yeah, we're getting deep now. We're getting deep.
Exactly. You know, speaking of bling and whatever else, like, you know, you have your own personal style. Is that something that you kind of have gathered along the way in terms of like, oh yeah, she did that or he did that, and that's kind of cool, and I want to follow that, or just, you know?
Yeah, I definitely like fashion and nice things. I have like this following on Instagram this page that I like to look at, and different designers and all that stuff. So I definitely get my inspiration from other people, but I think I like to incorporate like my own individuality with it. So yeah, I like to like show out like my personality through how I dress and all that stuff, and you know, people like how I dress and I like how I dress, so I think it works out.
Okay, what are 2 words to describe the way you dress?
Oh, 2 words.
Or 3, just, you know, 3. But how would you, but I don't want to use sentences, you know, you gotta make it quick. You gotta,
I would say unique and spontaneous. See, MC's like laughing over.
Why is she rolling her eyes at you?
I don't know. Everybody always thinks I'm doing extra sometimes.
Oh,
and-
extra.
Yeah, they call me extra, but you know, I love being extra. If you're not extra, then like, what are you? Like, you know, you're
Basic,
boring.
basic.
So yeah, basic. I
Thank
don't want to
you.
be boring or anything
No,
like that.
no.
So, you know, I always want to step it up a little bit.
All right, so then looking forward to the end of this journey, the end of just, let's talk about basketball first, and then we'll talk about, you know, beyond.
Okay.
What would be extra? What would be what you want out of this? The
Basketball?
end of.
I want us to go as far as we can. You know, I've been here for 4 years now, and I've only made it to the second round of the NCAA tournament. So even getting past second round would be extra for me because I haven't experienced everything else. You know, so as far as we can, it would be 6v16, Elite 8, Final Four, the championship game. Like, as far as we can go, that'd be extra, quote unquote, extra for me. Yeah.
All right, and then what about beyond that? What about off the court? When are you graduating? You know, all of that stuff.
Yeah, I plan to graduate at the end of the semester.
Okay.
I want to continue to play basketball. So whether it be overseas or professionally in the WNBA, that'd be, you know, I'm really blessed to have the opportunity. I think I still have a lot more in the tank, so I want to keep, you know, expending that energy and all that stuff. And basketball, I've been around for a long time. I really enjoy basketball, and I don't want to give it up just yet. So yeah, the playing basketball is definitely in the cards for me. After, you know, beyond basketball, with like getting a real job and, you know, being an adult and all that fun stuff, I think I want to kind of get in the field with being around a lot of kids and helping kids with a lot of mental health disabilities or issues like that. I think that's kind of like an underrepresented field, and you know, I kind of just want to get involved in that.
What inspires that for you about that particular field?
I think just being in the college environment and kind of seeing people or my peers, you know, struggle with things, and you know, my own experiences. You know, they don't have as much, you know, they're not as comfortable kind of expressing like talking about things like that, because it's not, you know, seen as like a good thing to talk about all the time. I just want to make sure, you know, that people have that space to feel comfortable talking about their experiences and like what things that scare them, things that they're, you know, afraid of, all that stuff. And I want to be that comfort zone for people.
So more on the mental health front, or more on the cognitive learning disability front, or
more the mental health front.
And you know that kids have those issues growing up, but they don't have a chance to really discuss it.
I think it's more of a if they're you know, given the space to do so, if they're, because sometimes like talking about it in public isn't like seen as a good public eye, isn't really a good thing to do. And I want people to know that it's okay to talk
There's
about
a
what
stigma
you're going
around that,
through.
for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah. So do you want to create like the forum type thing, or more like one-on-one leading groups and everything else?
More on one-on-one, like groups and all that stuff. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So final thoughts about anything you want to know us to know about you, or about your experience here in terms of your fans who've been following you for all these years.
Cal has been my home for 4 years, away from home for 4 years, and you know, I wouldn't trade this experience for anything. You know, it's been a lot of ups and downs, but I'm really glad that I've been here. The fans support that I receive, my teammates receive, is incredible. You know, I made a lot of connections with a lot of the donors and season ticket holders. You know, and they always tell me about my jump shot and all that stuff, but I know deep down they come from a good place. But you know, Cal, I love the experience. I love being here. The people here are awesome. This is a really unique spot to be. I think if anyone's lucky enough to come here and you know, devote a lot of time and energy, that they should definitely utilize it to the best of their abilities. So
One of the final practices here coming up for you, right? One of the final times being here on this court.
Yeah.
Feelings about that?
It's kind of scary. It's definitely scary, but I'm gonna embrace every moment, every play, every possession that we have the ball, like with practice at least. I'm gonna, you know, embrace it and just enjoy it as much as I can with my teammates.
Thank you so much for making the time.
Thank you so much for
It's
having
nice
me.
to talk to you.
Awesome.
All right.
Okay.